Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnan Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Om Bhadram Karne Vishunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stushtuagum Sastanubhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarkshu aristanemihi Swasti no brihaspatirdadatu Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Om. O gods, may we always hear with our ears what is auspicious. O worshipful ones, may we with our eyes always see what is auspicious. May we live our allotted life hale and hearty, offering our worship unto thee. May Indra of ancient fame bestow auspiciousness on all of us. May the all-nourishing portion be propitious to all of us. May Garuda, the destroyer of all evil, be well disposed towards all of us. May Brihaspati ensure all our welfare. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. We are studying the Amrita Bindu Upanishad. We have come to the fourth and fifth mantras. So the Rishi wants to tell us that how long should we meditate? What is meditation? How to make the mind pure? Because very clearly the Rishi tells us a purified mind is none other than the Atman. That's exactly Sri Ramakrishna is telling. And until we purify our heart, our sadhana has to continue. And that is being explained in this fourth mantra, Nirasta Vishaya Sangam. What is the very first step in making the mind pure? So, Vishaya means object with which we come into contact. Sangam means terrible attachment, bondage. And bondage can be what we like, what we also dislike. What do these likes and dislikes really do? Whenever we say, I like, I want it again. That is the meaning in the bracket. When I say I do not like, I do not ever wish to come into contact with this thing. Even simpler language also we use. Whenever we say that car is very beautiful or that person is very beautiful, it means I would like to enjoy that object, that car, that house, that area, or anything, that person. We do not express it. Only a person who has realized the Atman, like Sri Ramakrishna, he can tell that is beautiful, means it is really, really beautiful. And Swami Vivekananda says that person is very beautiful person. There is no motivation behind it. How come? Because for a realized soul, there is nothing called the other. Whenever he says that is a beautiful object, he says that is my own manifestation and I am beautiful. And when he says that is not beautiful, that is also my own manifestation and I am not very beautiful. Whatever we experience as we compared with our dream is none other than our own manifestations. So, in this fourth mantra, the Rishi is telling that first of all, our contact with object should be as less as possible. And that is called Bhautika or Bahya Tapasya, austerity. What is Tapasya? So, people, for example, on Ekadashi day, I don't want to eat food. So, they don't even cook, but they wait until the Vrata or Ekadashi is over. And even then, they are supposed to enjoy only the prasada, not anything else. So, first, Tattu Vishayatyaga Sangatyaga. First comes Vishaya, the object itself. There is a beautiful saying, out of sight, out of mind. Anything out of sight, we are most likely not even to remember it. It doesn't mean the memory is gone. It only means other things have thrown it down, pushed it down, because whatever is happening at the present assumes more of importance than what happened in the past. Then, as this beautiful fact has been given by Bhagavan Krishna himself, he says that when a person is away from the objects, then what happens is that as if he doesn't have any attachment to those objects. But the moment that object comes into view, full force, all that temptations, likes or dislikes, they come with 150% force, power. So even if a person has not seen something for 50 years, as if the Vishaya is completely destroyed. No, it is there awaiting, like a lotus seed that is awaiting for nearly 2000 years old. Our archaeologists had found out the seeds of lotus in that Mohenjo-daro Harappa ruins, and they became curious. And then they put it in the soil and started watering it. And within few months, it started to sprout. The power of the seed. So in the form of the seeds, that is why it is called bija. That is why our third state is called karanavastha. Jagradavastha, swapnavastha, karana. Karana means bija. And even in our mantras, we have this bija mantra. That is our Ishtadevata in the subtlest form bija. And one bija differs from the other bijas. That is why the very first duty is to reduce as much contact with the objects as possible, especially those objects which are likely to provoke both likes and dislikes. But what about the memories? So we are keeping away from the contact with the external objects, but their memories, because Janma Janmantara we have been enjoying them, coming into contact, desiring them. So towards them, we have to practice asanga. This is what Sri Ramakrishna meant. Live like a maid servant. So every event that happens, it has nothing to do with me. So even if the house owner gives first class room, air conditioned room, first class same food that is prepared in the house to the maid servant, she enjoys it, but she is completely aware. This is only so long as the master is pleased. So any second, he can cut it off. He can throw me, push me down into the lowest level to eat with other lowly people, etc. Or if he throws me out, as Ramakrishna puts it so beautifully, even a servant cannot take his own wooden box. He has to smuggle it by requesting somebody else, please bring it out. Otherwise, the owner may like to examine it, whether you are hiding or you have stolen something, etc. So we have to go on practicing it. And this is called niruddham, that is controlling the mind. And what happens when the mind becomes bereft of all attachments? Then slowly it gains a very special power. And as we or the sadhaka strives to remove and succeeds in removing the objects or the attachment to the objects, then like a mirror which is being cleaned, it starts reflecting. Reflecting whom? There is somebody who is the owner of the mind, who is standing in front of that mind, and now we are able to see many other objects, not our own selves. And even when we perceive ourselves, a very distorted vision. But as soon as it is being cleaned, to the extent it is cleaned, our real nature started to reflect uncontaminated. And then that mind looks into our true nature. That is what Patanjali Yogi really means. What happens when the mind becomes pure? Chitta vritti nirodha is called yoga. Tada, when that state is attained, drashtu swarupe avasthanam. That abidance in one's own true nature. Drashtu means I am the seer. That is called hridaya. The mind enters into that hridi. Until that time, we have to go on practicing. And that is clearly mentioned in the next half of the line in this fourth mantra. Yada, when the mind becomes pure, and automatically it enters into the heart. Ayati atmanaha bhavam. When the mind starts reflecting the Atman, and that is called the state of entering into the mind. Entering into the heart. Heart means complete reflection of the Atman, our own true nature. That is what Sri Ramakrishna had meant, that a Jamindar can be at any place in his Jamindari. But most of the time, he is to be found in the visitor's room. So the heart is compared to the visitor's room. And there we see the Jamindar. Here, Jamindar means our own true nature called Atma, Paramatma, Ishtadevata, whatever name we would like to call it, it's okay. And then what happens? It is not merely beholding tada. As soon as we see the Paramatma, what happens? Tat paramam padam. We have to supply the word yati in brackets. So the Atman rushes, like as they say, when a moth beholds a burning light, lamp, fire, immediately it becomes one and gets reduced to ashes. That's what happens. Tadatat paramam padam. So entering into the heart is equivalent to mukti. Entering into the heart is called Atma Sakshatkara, Ishvara Sakshatkara, Bhagavat Sakshatkara, whatever name. So many names are there. Paradise or the kingdom of heaven. The Indians should not be mistranslating the word kingdom, kingdom of heaven. That heaven is not Swargaloka, Indra's place or Prajapati's place. It is Bhagavan's place. And how long should one practice it? This is a natural question. Or we ask, how long will it take until we reach that place? If we, it, how long, when are we going to reach that state? It depends upon how we are progressing. So in the initial stages, the progress is very, very slow. And that is being mentioned in the fifth mantra. Tavat eva nirodhavyam. One should only do this nirodha. Nirodha means purifying the heart. What is purification of the heart? Removing all anatma thoughts, worldly thoughts, secular thoughts. Only keeping thoughts of God, thoughts of the Ishtadevata, thoughts of Krishna, Rama, Jesus, Buddha, Ramakrishna, etc. Only that much time. And Sri Ramakrishna has also something to assure us. Says the grace of God's, the breeze of God's grace is always blowing, because the grace of God is another name for God. Just as a fire is the name of the heat, is the name of the fire. Fire and heat, though we use two words, can never be separated. So light and the sun, sunlight, sun and the light cannot be separated. Similarly, God and His grace cannot be separated. Sri Ramakrishna says that the God means God is everywhere. God is everywhere. His grace is everywhere. God is knowledge. So His knowledge is everywhere. God is existence. So He is everywhere. God is Ananda. So Ananda is everywhere. That is the most marvelous thing. And to understand this, we have to recollect once more that the brother-in-law probably, or even the husband of Mirabai, had sent poison because they thought, mistakenly of course, and it is also God's will, that Mirabai was bringing scandals. He is bringing the name of the respect of the house down by mixing with all and sundry, and by even dancing, singing publicly like a public woman. We have to understand that even today, now it is, now things have changed actually. So the singers and the dancers and the actors and actresses, they have become our what is called heroes and heroines. But in the olden days, only though even this M.S. Subbalakshmi, she was born of what is called that caste where they are supposed to be dancing and singing in the temples. So even such people will never be allowed to enter into a respectable home. But what was Mirabai doing? At the beginning, her husband was very kind, and he constructed a temple of Bhagavan Krishna, thinking that she need not go outside. But she opened it for all sadhus, for all bhaktas. Even it is said that Emperor Akbar had heard of the fame of Mirabai, and surreptitiously he also once came in the guise of a monk along with Tansen, and he was enchanted so much that he presented beautiful jewels. Later on, it was found out that they came to know it was Akbar, and a Muslim entering into the Janana of such a great kings, these Rajputana kings. They were like that, like no less than Muslims. So they got so offended, and then he sent poison. It is better that if you die, then our prestige will be back. And what did she do? That is important point for us. For Meera, everybody is Krishna. So she, without offering to Krishna, she will never get any. But we have to understand the life of the events in the life of Mirabai in the light of these Upanishads. So what does the Upanishad says? That everywhere the Atman is present. So what was her husband? He was also Atman. But whether it is brother-in-law, he was also Atman. What was the poison? That is also Atman. So what can poison do? That is why we have to understand that Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and Kaliya's fumes, what is called virulent poison, he was just vomiting, and the fumes have surrounded Bhagavan Krishna. And then they could not, of course, do anything. Why? Because who was that poison? Bhagavan only poison. Bhagavan became Amrita, Bhagavan became poison. Everything is Bhagavan only. So what can poison do? What can one's own self do one's own self? That is the idea. Of course, being a bhakta, she said, Krishna, this is your prasadam, and I am drinking it. And then how was she drinking it? Laughingly. Pivatu mera hasi re. She was smiling, smiling because whatever comes out of Krishna's prasadam is nothing but amrita. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasya upajayate. Prasanna chetasho hyashu buddhi paryavatishtate. So that is what has happened. So we have to, until we reach that state where we do not consider ourselves as body, mind, and karana sharira also. Now what happens? A miracle happens. The moment I know I am not the body, I cannot identify anybody else with the body. The moment I come to know I am the mind, I cannot identify anybody also with their minds. So sarvatra, Bhagavan, Brahmadarshana, Vidya Vinay Sampanne, Brahmane, Gavi Hastini, Shunichaiva Shvapakecha, Panditaha, Samadarshinaha, Atma Upamyena Sarvatra, Samam Pashyati Arjuna, Sukham va idiva dukkham, Sayogi Paramo Mataha, Parayogi, there is no something called Sukha or Dukkha, because he sees everybody's Sukha as his own, everybody's Dukkha as one. It is a profound verse. What does it mean? So does a Jivan Mukta suffer from Dukkha? So he may not be suffering, but when he identifies himself with other people's Dukkha, is he suffering? No. At that elevated state of mind, Dukkha becomes nothing but the prasadam of Bhagavan himself. Therefore, everything is transmuted, as it were, into gold. Gold means here on the Ananda. So the fifth mantra is telling, so how long should we do? So until the mind becomes purified and automatically it reflects one's own true self, and that is called entering into the heart, and that is called jnanam, that is called dhyanam, and rest is only an elaborate description for people who have not yet reached that state. That is what Sri Ramakrishna meant, that God is everywhere, His grace is eternal, as God is eternal. Then what Sri Ramakrishna says, unfurl your sails. What does this unfurling sails means really? That means your effort should be only to practice Sharanagati, self-surrender. And once you start practicing self-surrender, then what happens? The breeze itself carries the boat to the right destination. Nothing else need to be done. In fact, if we really understand, the whole Jagat, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya is nothing but Leela. So in that Leela, we feel as if we are separate from God, and then we realize separation from God is called separation from us, what is called Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So we long, we pant, we cannot live without God, even for a single second. And that longing comes. So God has created the separation. God has created this intense yearning to come back, and God alone, as if He is teaching us in the form of the scriptures how to attain Him, and God Himself comes in the form of the Guru by holding our hands. He will reveal Himself, which Swami Brahmanandaji said to the as an answer to the question put by one of his either devotees or disciples. Said, can Guru give liberation? He said, what are you talking about? Guru can give liberation this very second. How can he give? Because Guru is none other than Satchidananda himself. So what happens at the end? The Guru slowly leads the disciple to God. And then he says, behold, there is your Ishtadevata. And what happens to the Guru then? He simply merges into Ishtadevata, because all this time, whom we are considering as Guru, as separate from God, separate from one's own self, is none other than Satchidananda only. And then the sadhaka, the Guru, everything becomes one. And in another way, this is what Sri Ramakrishna said, through the incident of a Bhagavata Pandit was reciting Bhagavatam at Radha Krishna temple. Suddenly Sri Ramakrishna saw a ray of light coming from the lotus feet of Bhagavan Krishna and touching the Bhagavatam, touching Sri Ramakrishna's own heart and going back. Since that time, Sri Ramakrishna coined a very beautiful, recitable mantra, Bhagavata Bhakta Bhagavan. There is absolutely no difference between these three. Now, what are we talking about? Our efforts to control the mind is also possible only because of the knowledge God has given, because of the energy God has given, because of the favorable circumstances God has given, because of this human birth God has given. So, Tavadeva Nirodhavyam. How long should we practice sadhana? How long the mind should be controlled? Until it becomes sufficiently pure. Then what happens? When it becomes sufficiently pure, like a self-starter in the car, the sufficiently purified heart takes over, and it itself helplessly will take us across. This is what is called Shraddha Avivesha, that intense faith had possessed one. And our effort should be until Bhagavan's grace in the form of buddhi or in the form of intense faith possesses us. This is called Sharanagati. In other words, Yavat Hridi Shayam Gatam. Until the mind completely becomes one with the Hridi, Hridaya. Now, what is the difference between mind and Hridaya? Mind's most important function is to think various things. And what is Hridaya? To feel that I am the thinker. The subjective part of the thinking process belongs to the Hridaya, and the thinking part, the objective part, belongs to the mind. So when the object and the subject are completely unified, that something, a miracle happens. Then the person realizes, first, I am neither the subject nor the object, but I am the pure Atman, beyond both the what is called subject and object, karta, karma, kriya. And that is called jnana. That is why in Vedanta, two types of jnanams are posited. One jnanam is that here is a subject, he wants to know something, he employs the mind. So there is a what is called seeker, knower, and there is an instrument called mind, and there are other instruments like the eyes, ears, etc. And there are objects. All these are completely separate. But this is called Gnanam. I did not know about China earlier. Now I know about China. Like that, what was unknown has become known by me now. This is what is called Paroksha Gnanam or Maya Gnanam, Anatma Gnanam. And what is Atma Gnanam? I have nothing to do. I am. That is called Atmagnanam. The heart represents I am. The mind represents what is called Paroksha Jnanam. The heart represents Aparoksha Jnanam. This is the difference between the mind and the heart. And once the mind, that is subject-object division, that is called Dvaitam, is dissolved, that is called entering into the heart. Once the mind and the heart becomes one, then one has the knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atman, nothing but the Atman. Not only that, everything else is the nothing but Atman. And then Upanishad, the Rishi himself is concluding, Etad Gnana. This realization is the true knowledge. And Dhyananja. And this is what the attainable goal. Dhyana means the process by which this knowledge is arrived at. And Seshaha, all the descriptions that come in thousands and thousands of tomes, books, Nyayascha Istaraha. That is a detailed description to be explained through Yukti, Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhava. So this is what scripture is telling, and there are commentators upon it, Bhashyakaras, Tikakaras, and Vrittikaras, etc. And ultimately, it is all nothing but explaining that simple truth, Aham Brahmasmi. So with this, the both the fourth and fifth mantras are over. So what did we learn? That one important factor is we are none other than Brahman. There is nothing else excepting Brahman. So one of the points we have to remember here is that my mind is restless. Why is the mind restless? Is it restless for is it restless for what? Because mind is seeking rest. It is restless simply because it is not restful. It simply is yearning. I want to be restful. And like the Kasturi Mriga, which is searching for the fragrance that is emitting from its own navel, Kasturi Mruga. Here also, the mind is searching for its own self, because the mind is none other than Atman. In the Upanishads, we get so many times the expression mind and Atman are one and the same. And just to take one example, Swami Vivekananda was very fond of quoting it. Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha. That means Atma is available only for Balavan, one who is strong. Why? Because the very nature of the Atman is strength. And whatever is weak, that is an Atma. Not really. It is only apparently. It is only seemingly. It is only as if, because there is nothing, no two things called Atma and Anatma. Atma only because of our distorted, what is called impure mind, Ashuddha mind, Kama Sankalpa mind, appears to be weak, full of desires and bondage. Bondage means weakness, actually. But one who realizes the self says, I am seeking my own self. There is nothing else. So, this is what is beautiful thing. The mind is restless. Why? Because we have made it restless. Who made it restless? Our actions make it restless. We come across some object and then we experience it, and then we have some judgment formed. This is beautiful, this is not beautiful, this is pleasant, this is unpleasant, and we go on developing likes and dislikes. And the whole life is nothing but running after what we like and running away from what we dislike. Analyze your life, each one of you, you will see that is the truth. So the mind is by nature restful. How do we know? How do we know? Because this is called anubhava. What is anubhava? When you are in deep sleep, you are the happiest, most peaceful, and most happy. How come? Because you have no quest. There, the power of restlessness has completely subsided. Though, in a way of speaking, we do not know who we are at the time of the deep sleep state, but we are not certainly making the mind restless. The mind becomes absolutely restful. And for how long? Though we should not calculate it from the viewpoint of the deep sleep, but from the waking standpoint, we have to say that these several hours, it could be anywhere between 5 to 8 hours. Is that all? No. In between two thoughts, we enter into that state. When we are unconscious, we enter into that state. Just like the heart, which derives its rest completely in between two heartbeats, it takes rest and it regains its strength. So in the deep sleep state is we as if we have become our own selves. And that is Advaita state. Temporary though, ignorant though, still that is the understanding. So what does it mean? It means to be restful, to be peaceful, not to have any Dvaitam is our nature of the very mind. Because why do we say mind? Because it is the mind which goes through the waking state, dream state, as well as the deep sleep state. But when we can separate ourselves from these three states, that means body, mind, then what happens? That is called samadhi. So samadhi is a natural state, and the Atman is a natural state. So that is the point. What is the mind? Pure Atman. And why is the mind restless? Because it lost it forgot its own nature, and restlessness is it is not searching, really speaking, for any object in this world. Why? Because upon analysis it is found no object contains either happiness or unhappiness. Only they either put a curtain when we don't get what we want, as if a curtain is put in between us and our own happiness. And when we get an object, as if that object removes that curtain, we are united with our own true self of Satchidananda, and that is what gives happiness. Happiness is our nature. Existence is our nature. Pure knowledge is our nature. This is what the Rishi wants to convey through most of these things. Now, when a sadhaka advances to that state where he starts getting a glimpse of that Atma Swarupa, one's own nature, what should he do? So, for a person who has advanced to that state, because the scripture or the guru gives different techniques depending upon the progress of the disciple. Just like for a nursery school baby, the one type of teaching. For elementary school baby, child, another type of teaching. For grown-up child, school teaching. For still grown-up child, college teaching. Then university teaching. Then PhD teaching, etc., etc. So, the sadhana, the purpose of sadhana is to be rid of sadhana. That is, by realizing we don't need to do any sadhana. The whole accomplishment of sadhana is to know that there was no need for sadhana ultimately. That is the truth. And in the sixth mantra, a very beautiful hint is given how that supreme reality has to be meditated upon. Naiva chintyam, nacha chintyam, na chintyam, chintyameva tat, pakshapata vinirmuktam, brahma sampadyate tada. A supreme state or Brahman is neither to be thought of as being something external to us and pleasing to us, nor unworthy to be thought of as something unpleasant to the mind, nor is it to be thought of as being an object of either pain or pleasure, but to be thought of as the essence of the ever manifest, eternal, supreme bliss itself. This is how we have to think of it. Swami Brahmanandaji has given very beautiful hints how to meditate. The very first thing, most of us neglect that thing. That is why sometimes our faces are more castrile like faces after meditation than before meditation. Especially if you happen to eat some nice sweets and then afterwards enter into meditative state, you can see the difference between immediately after eating the sweet and after coming out of meditation, what is the difference? So we become what we think of. And what do you think if our face becomes castrile like face? When we come after meditation, it can clearly indicate what we are thinking of during the entire meditation state. Very, what is called paradoxical letters or words are used here. Naiva chintyam, it should not be thought of. Nacha achintyam, nor should it be left without thinking. That means you should not think, you should also think. Nachintyam, again third, it should not be thought of. Then definitely chintyam eva tat, it should be thought of. These words have to be properly understood. And that is why commentators come to our aid. So what is this? Chintyam means what? To be thought of. Nothing else but to be thought of. We can say it is Bhagavan, we can say it is Ishtadevata, we can say it is Brahman. But what is it? How is it to be done? Brahma sampadyate tada. As we think, so we become. So if we are thinking about Brahman, we attain Brahman. Tada Brahma sampadyate. If we are successful in this type of meditation as indicated in this sixth mantra and also many other mantras, then what happens? Brahma sampadyate. Sampadyate means Brahman is realized, Brahman is obtained, or the proper translation should be that I become Brahman, we become Brahman. Whoever meditates will become Brahman. What is that Brahman? Pakshapata vinirmukta. Pakshapata means what is called as differentiation, partiality. And Brahman is Pakshapata vinirmuktam, completely devoid of Pakshapata. Why? Pakshapata means there is discrimination. This is me and this is somebody else. I like this and I don't like this. So this context of partiality, is Bhagavan partial? Does he make somebody happy, someone unhappy? Absolutely no. That is why he is not called one who gives, he is called one who arranges according to one's karma phala. Vidhata means Purva Janma Krita Karma Phaladayi is called Vidhata. So just like manager of a factory or any company, according to the wages will be given according to what we really work for it. This Brahman is absolutely Pakshapata. And now we have to understand this, how he cannot be having any partiality because he doesn't have any parts. Where there are parts, there will be partiality. But he is Akhanda, he is Advaita. To be partial, he has to be, there must be some other object. At least one should be there, if not many. But Brahman is what is called Ananta. It is infinite. Infinite cannot have any parts. By the way, any number of finite things cannot make something infinite. So Brahman should be thought about as Pakshapata Vinirmukta, completely devoid of any partiality. That means he is only one, to be thought of as one without a second. And that is what gives the clue to the first line of the sixth mantra. Naiva Chintya means what? Generally, I'll just give you plain English hints, then we can understand it. Generally, every object produces two types of reactions within us. I like this, I don't like this. Even a mother who is not supposed to have any differentiation between her children, no pakshapata, but every mother is to be found a little bit closer to one child, a little bit more liking to that child. Though even though she loves other children, but her her partiality makes it this child is closer to me. She always calls me. He always arranges for my comfort. This is my only child. So, like that, if you analyze your life, whether it is towards anybody, towards parents, we have got terrible pakshapata when we apply to our parents. Generally, whom do we like? We like only our mother. If there is, God forbid, but if there is what is called, if God, Yamada Maharaja comes and says that I will give you a choice, I am pleased with you. So I have to take one of your parents. Do you want your father to go or your mother to go? And if you ask, if Mother Maharaja asks me that question, unhesitatingly I will tell, take my father away. Because I still remember this fellow has beaten me up so many times. My mother, oh, how lovingly she took me into her lap and then consoled me and gave me extra sweets whenever my father bet me extra sweets. So, if we analyze our life towards every object, even towards the sweets, I need not elaborate. I'm just giving you some hints. If there are 5, 6 sweets, so first thing we want to, some people take the most beloved thing towards the end. That is why in Bengali tradition it is said Madhurena Samapaye. But South Indian tradition is totally different. So Madhurena Arambhayet. So you start when you are hungry, when your stomach is empty, then you start with the sweets, fill it up to your whatever extent you are given are possible, and then normal things later on, even if you don't regret about it. So the traditions differ. Even to sweets, there will be a preference. What was Sri Ramakrishna's preference? Jalebi. If you take jalebi and rasgulla, he will definitely say jalebi is much better. Anyway, what am I trying to tell? We are all slaves to likes and dislikes. So that is what is said in the first half of the line. Naivachintyam. So Bhagavan should never be thought. Brahman, Ishtadevata, Atman should never be thought. Naivachintyam. Never ever think that he is something who is likable, because one goes with the other. If I say I like this, and if you say I don't dislike anything, but I like this thing, is a illogical statement. So we have to get out of both likes and dislikes. So the first few words, Naivachintyam, do not think of God as something which is likable. Nacha Achintyam, do not think of God as unlikable. And some commentators have given a little another meaning also. What is that meaning? See, we are all, most of us are believers in God. Believers or astikas are more in number than nastikas. So we pray to God, we are doing puja, and we pray for something. Usually we pray for either helping us overcome some obstacles, you destroy this negative thing, or grant me something which I don't have. Remove what I don't like and get me what I like. This is what is called sukha labha and dukkha nashta. Sukha prapti, dukkha nivrutti. Every action falls under these two categories. There is no neutral action at all. So God, sometimes He fulfills our desire. And then we like, oh, wonderful. I love you. That is what we say. And if we, by any chance, even if it is for our own good, He doesn't fulfill our desires, we think there is something seriously wrong with his brain. I have to wash his brain properly. So, naivachintyam, do not think of something as something external and pleasing to the mind, and nachintyam, something external and also unpleasant to the mind. He is pakshapata vinirmuktaha. Then nachintyam, that is, one should not think about. First part is what is it? That the effect of an object that is on our mind. What is the second part? The object itself. We should not think that is an object because there is a law. Whatever we are experiencing is an object, and whatever we are experiencing is not me. This is the first fundamental law of Vedanta. For example, you are experiencing a tree, you know that you are not the tree. And you are experiencing an elephant, you know that you are not the elephant. Apply it to everything, including we are experiencing our body. We should logically say, I am not the body. And we should say, same thing with regard to the mind, I am not the mind. So he says, nachintyam. So do not think of anything as an object. Then what does it mean? It means think of everything as one's own self. Chintyam eva tat. We have to think of Brahman as what? I am the subject. I am the knower. I am Brahman. I am Pakshapata Nirmuktam. I am Advaitam. Therefore, I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Ananda. This is the hint that is being given in these so-called confusing types of words. First Chintyam, then Achintyam, then Nachintyam, then Chintyam Ayavata. Brahman, our Ishtadevata. So as I was telling, Swami Brahmananda used to say, first thing you sit for meditation, you imagine your Ishtadevata as so pleased with us, so what is called happy. My son, I love you. Not because whatever you are, that is not the point. You are good, you are bad, you are rogue, you are a good person, you are having good qualities, you are having bad qualities. No. So, because you are not separate from me. God will never say, Rakshasas are separate from myself. That is why in the Devi Mahatmyam, there is a beautiful expression comes. I cannot tell you how much meaning is there. So the Devatas, they are hymning the Divine Mother. They say, oh Mother, by your very Punkarenaiva, by your very thought, let these Rakshasas be completely destroyed. They could have been destroyed. Where was the need for you personally to come and participate in this terrible war? By the way, Devi Mahatmyam is full of this, what is called horrific type of war. Exactly the same thing that is happening now in front of our eyes in the between the two countries that are fighting war now. Now, how do you say? So you may take a small trishula or a pointed something and poke. Suppose somebody pokes at me. Do I experience less happiness? Or the uh, other party takes a powerful bomb and then throws it upon me, then do I experience more pain? Absolutely no. Pain is pain, whether it is a pin prick or it is a bigger prick, it doesn't really make any difference. Both can kill us. So In those days, with all this, Divine Mother, with her own khadga, she is killing right and left, her own self. But we say she is the Divine Mother. If she is the Divine Mother, where from the Rakshasas have come? Asuras have come, Mahishasura, then Madhukaitava, Shumba and Nishumba, Raktabija. Where from they have come? They are her own manifestations. So they cannot be killed really, because killing them is killing like the Divine Mother. So, but they have been playing in dirt, not heeding to the advice of the Divine Mother. So their whole bodies and minds have got so all this dirt and dust, everything. So she takes lovingly into her lap, washes them, and then she does it. Now, there is something very interesting to be understood. So, can God ever kill anybody? It is impossible. But what does God do? So, first point is that He wants to purify. Our mother wants to purify us. Any pain that comes, any misery that comes is a gift of God, as Holy Mother says. Second point, we have to understand very well. When these so-called asuras are giving so much of trouble to the devatas, is it because the devatas did not deserve it, but the asuras unnecessarily came and gave? Or, according to our Karma Siddhanta, the devatas have forgotten how they obtained that position, and they are completely mesmerized by the enjoyments, and then they have forgotten the whole thing together. It is according to proper interpretation, it should be that wise. Is Bhagavan is, Divine Mother is Vidhata. So these Rakshasas have given pain, and the Devatas had had enough, and it is now time. They have, these Rakshasas actually have fulfilled the dictates of the Divine Mother. These people deserve to be suffering, and they suffered enough of suffering. Now I will give you mukti. So the Devatas themselves were telling that, Mother, you loved these people so much, and therefore, with your own hands, if you kill them, they are definite to reach to become you. And that is what. So when Divine Mother was killing and eating all of them, so there is a saying, you are what you eat. So when the Rakshas are eaten, what do you think she will become? They all become the Divine Mother. And I will conclude this topic today with what is called. There was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. He became drunkard, and he was hospitalized in the end, and he wanted to hear only the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And several days passed. By that time, the disease had progressed, and one day he died. And the news of his death was conveyed to Holy Mother, and she said, after all, he is a child of the divine Sri Ramakrishna. He loved him very much. Now he is my child, and he has been playing in the outside a dirty game, and all the dirt has come. Now I have taken him into my own lap after giving sufficient bath, making him clean. Now I have gathered him unto my lap. We will discuss these beautiful things in our next class. Om Jananim Shardam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. May the Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda bless us all with the Jai Ramakrishna.